The center of the world is always human beings. But the path we picked was a rather hard path. It was good that we accomplished certain things, but I would say the same amount of time, same amount of energy spent on it, there could be even bigger results. How quickly can we enable technologies that get adopted and then make the world a better place? There are better pathways, and just gotta be open to it, gotta be mindful of it, gotta be aware that, hey, human factors is always the most important, and pay attention to what people want, not just what you want.
Alrighty, hello everyone and welcome to the Deal Maker Show. So today we have a really exciting founder. We're going to be learning a lot. He's a tremendous founder. He's done it before, built it, scaled it, raised for it, exited. I mean, you name it. We're going to be talking about going from 0 to 150 million ARR in 10 months. Let that sink in. And obviously, things that have happened along the way, how he went about, his previous company too. He also went through the full cycle. So again, brace yourself for a very inspiring conversation. And without further ado, let's welcome our guest today, Wen Sang. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wen, co-founder and CEO at Genspark.ai. Super excited to be here, and thank you so much, Alejandro, for the opportunity.
Amazing, Wen. So born and raised in China. So give us a walk through memory lane. How was life growing up for you?
Just like billions of other Chinese kids, I guess. So yeah, I was born and raised in China. It's a place called Shanxi. If you drive down south from Beijing for 6 hours, you get to my hometown. You open the door, 360, it's all mountains. And people love noodles in my hometown. Yeah.
That's amazing. So tell us, how did you get into the whole, engineering, problem solving and numbers and things like that?
For sure. So since college, I've been trained as a automotive engineer because at that time, automotive was the industry to get into. And then by 2010, I got this opportunity to come to States to do my PhD at MIT Sloan Automotive Lab. I was burning gasoline like how other folks would burn diesel to make the engine a lot more efficient. And I did that for 3 years, graduated from MIT. And during that time, I would say MIT has this really amazing environment. They really bring in the successful entrepreneurs. At the time, I remember Drew Houston came back to give a talk, and a lot of the others as well. But it was just so inspiring that I discovered another path to make impact. And that was when entrepreneurship just got into my mind. And eventually, I started my first company after MIT. It was an enterprise SaaS company. We sold software to municipalities, commercial real estate owners, and so on and so forth. It was started in Boston, but by 2015, we moved to Silicon Valley to go through Y Combinator.
Well, before you even get there, before we even get there, I mean, we can't we can't walk over the fact of who was your first investor in Smarking. Who was your first investor?
Fun story. Obviously, I was a first-time founder. I had no track record. I was an engineer by training. I tried raising money in Boston. Boston has a lot of big investors, and many of them were like, "Okay, give me your 5-year financial projection." I was like, "I'm just getting started here. I'm not sure if I give it. I don't even know if I would believe in it." But that was kind of the vibes there. So couldn't raise money in Boston. And now my wife at the time, my girlfriend, she was like, "Oh, you poor guy." So she wrote the first check to me. My wife was my first angel investor.
That's amazing. So you were talking about location. So you were in Boston. So I guess you were having this trouble raising money, and then you decide to really move out and to go to Y Combinator. What got you through that thought process? Because moving, it's a big deal too. Obviously, you're coming from China. Now you're in Boston. Pursuing the American dream. You're all in. Your wife, also investing. Now your wife. So thank God, that thing, had a good outcome. Otherwise the wife would have not been happy because you guys were acquired. So that's good. But I guess you're in Boston. Things are not unfolding the way that you had hoped for on the financing. Walk us through why moving to the Bay Area, Y Combinator. Walk us through that thought process.
100%. So, I guess on the one hand, I was young and I was ignorant enough to take all the risks, in the world, because a lot of the immigrant founders here in the U.S. would understand this, that for you to start a company in the U.S. or for you to even work in the U.S., you have to have permit or certain particular type of visa or green card, and that is a whole process, right? So most of the people would go through the jobs and so on, but at the time, I was, when I got started, I was on a student internship visa. And I was like, you know what, either we make it or we go big or go home. That was kind of the mentality. But then, yeah, it was almost impossible to raise money in Boston. And we got really lucky that that year, Y Combinator sent one of the partners to scout projects or companies in Cambridge. So I was eating free ramen noodle at the MIT Entrepreneurship Center, just trying to get by. Because initially, I landed my first job as a mechanical engineer, near Boston. But then I decided, this is I can see my next 10 years of lifetime. I'm done with this. So I just quit the job. That year, I made about $10,000. So that was some life. All my other schoolmates, they were either in oil, gas, or Wall Street. I just making big dollars. So that was kind of the the beginning of my journey. But then, you know, I heard about this Y Combinator partners visit, and basically we got connected through some MIT alum mutual connections. Some of the good folks went through the Y Combinator program and then made the introduction, and we eventually met at this coffee shop in Cambridge and Harvard Square. I think that was where it happened, and we just hit it off really well because at the time I remember building this sales proposal for Boston Logan Airport and basically revealed the whole kind of a whole new world for this amazing investor, and he was like, "You should apply for YC." I was like, "Okay, I guess I mean I've heard about it for sure." So basically, went through the application, and at the time Sam Altman was the president still, and then went through the whole thing. It was exciting. They flew us over to Mountain View to do the interview. It was intense. It was a lot of prep, but we were also very fortunate that we got a lot of help along the way. From the YC alum, MIT alum, and so on. So eventually we got in, and then my original plan was to move over to Mountain View for 3 months, go through the program because that was the requirement at the time, and then move back to Boston because I really loved Boston. I mean, Boston is an amazing, amazing place. But then, 3 months later, the weather in Mountain View was just so good that you're always in shorts and short sleeves during the winter. I was like, it's gonna be hard for me to move back. 5 months of winter in Boston, so that's how we just stayed. And more importantly, the fundraising environment in Boston was very different from Silicon Valley. I mean, Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley for a reason. There's
What
only
what what
one Silicon Valley in the whole world.
what
So
do you think you learned? Because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of immigrant founders. I mean, I'm an
yeah.
immigrant too, so I can really relate to your story. But I'm sure that there's a lot that are listening, tuning in, and really wondering how did you go about being intentional too with building your networks? Because I'm sure that once you join Y Combinator, it sounds like the snowball started to gain effect and to move a little bit quicker when it came to having the right people in your corner. So how did you go about really being intentional about building your network too?
That's a great, great question, Alejandro. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that honestly. I had the consciousness to kind of build network early on when I was grad student. I think for all the folks trained as an engineer, the mindset is just to solve problems. Like whatever problems in front of me, I mean, there's good and bad about it. We can talk about it, but yeah, I was just solving one problem at a time, and I guess at the same time, I was willing to help when people come to me, and that I guess somehow the karma just goes around in a way. I don't know, honestly.
And and then to you're talking about it here. You are a trained engineer. How did you go about that transition from being on the technical side to perhaps more on the business side? That's not an easy transition.
That was hard. That was real hard. That was, I mean, Ben Horowitz wrote this book, Hard Things About Hard Things. Later on, I read a chapter about how when engineers are turning into kind of business people, it's there is a whole transition, but it's possible. So it was painful because the mindset is very different. As we talk about, so as an engineer, you're always just trying to solve problems, but then when it comes to the human world, when it comes to my last company, it was all door to door sales, to government officials, to to real estate folks, to to kind of property owners and all that, and it it's very very different. And also when it comes to how to work with other human beings, how to motivate the team, how to essentially become aware of the human factors when it comes to all things, everything. It was not easy. I'd say my learning, my journey of learning was full of hard lessons. That's how I mean, yeah, you just my head got bumped everywhere I go. Is how I kind of went through that and survived. Yeah,
I hear you. I mean, that's the way it is, right? So for the people that are listening to get it, what you were doing with Smarking, what was the business model? How were you guys making money there?
yeah. So basically, when I got to Boston for first time ever in my life, I had this. There was a yard sale, and I never had a car before, although I was working on car engines. So yard sale, I saw this little bumpy Saturn. It was $2,000. I was like, finally, I can afford a car. So got the car, started driving around, feeling super excited, but couldn't park it. Boston, it's like all the roads were built for horse carriages, not like for cars. So many one ways and so on. So I was like, God damn, this is a problem, right? Like we've been driving cars for so many years and we couldn't park it. Why? Went deep into that problem and came to the realization that, hey, it's the world has, at least here in the States, we overbuilt. Each vehicle has more than 4 parking spaces, and people are still just circling around. 30% of urban traffic is caused by parking searching. So, but the problem is the digitization on the supply side. It's not that consumers don't have the intent to solve that problem. So the dream was, we're gonna somehow digitize the supply and eventually work with platforms like Google Maps and so on to help consumers to find parking spaces a lot easier. But then the step one is to digitize the supply. So we then ask the question, okay, who controls these things? So it turns out to be airports, hotels, universities, hospitals, cities, municipalities, commercial real estate owners, you name it, all of these folks. So we basically went in to sell them a set of software solutions, business intelligence, later on dynamic pricing, later on kind of online parking pass solution to entice these property owners to work with us. We help them to make more money because we can help them on more efficient, effective pricing and operations management, and optimizing their staffing and so on and so forth. Started with a business intelligence kind of solution, and in turn, they would digitize their supply, their parking spaces, and that was kind of it was an enterprise SaaS model from a business standpoint. But yeah, it was hard door to door sales.
No kidding. Now, obviously, the outcome, was successful because you guys were able to get it to the finish line. So, walk us through how the acquisition, make us insiders. Like, how did that, develop, and then also, what was your biggest lesson once it reached the finish line? Now you're a founder that has experienced the full cycle. What was that for you? What level of clarity did that give you into the entrepreneurial journey as a whole, too?
Yeah. When I was working on it heads down, it was just I was not seeing the rest of the world. So, but yeah, eventually, I mean, by the time it came to fourth, fifth year we were in business, people started reaching out. Like every March, somehow people would reach, hey, are you ready to sell? There are PE firms, there are other companies in the industry, and we were always like, my co-founder and I, we were just hey, we see big opportunities here. We want to keep working on it. It's an absolutely worthy problem. We believe that every human being deserves more time on meaningful things than searching for parking. So that was kind of the mission. We went on and on, but then obviously, like everybody else, probably we went through this near-death experience back in 2018. We came back up, turned around the operations, released the second product. That was a success, and then 2020 came. So the whole industry, by April 2020, 90% of industry just disappeared. That was some scary times. But thank God we were cash flow positive as a company at the time. So we survived. Not only we survived, we kind of cut credits for our clients to help them to survive, and then so that we could all come back together later. Um, and then eventually, I think it was early 2022. The whole world has kind of, to a certain extent, largely recovered, and some other folks reached out. Like one of them is Park Hub slash Just Park, who later on acquired us, saying that, hey, you guys have built something amazing. At that time, we were we built a network of about 2,500 parking properties across North America, and all the real time transactions. That was probably the largest real time data kind of network in the parking industry. And I mean, we just sat down and talking about this, me and my co-founder. And on the one hand, we knew that we can keep going because we're cash flow positive, business was growing. But it would be probably another 5 or 6 years before we see kind of this company get down to the next level. On the other hand, I mean, to be honest, both of us have been at it for a while. Uh, I just had my firstborn in 21, and to be honest, after almost, I think that was 8 years, 9 years. I mean, I wanted to stay married. So, family is important. It can't be. So
Yeah.
it was also largely a personal decision that me and my co-owner was like, man, we got to get some life as well. So
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, your wife was probably, hey, I want my liquidity event. We've been at it for enough, eh? Good stuff. Good stuff.
I mean, there were tensions. Don't
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Now, obviously, that obviously gave you the full visibility, clarity. You stayed with the acquirer for about a year. But I want to talk about now the wildest journey as an entrepreneur that you've experienced, and that is Genspark. So how do you land on the journey on the rocket ship of Genspark, which is wild? I mean, I can't wait to dive deep here. But how do you meet the co-founders? How did the team come together? And tell us, how did you land with Genspark?
For sure. So, funny story. I after my last company, a friend of mine was starting a podcast, and she was like, "Hey, can you be my first guest? I wanted you to share your story." So I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's have some fun." So we did that, and then Eric, now my co-founder and our CEO, he moved back to Silicon Valley. He was a long-term Microsoft veteran, and then he went on to start a company from scratch to $5.5 billion valuation, leveraging the last generation AI technology, deep learning technologies, and so on. He moved back to the Valley toward the end of 23 when I did this process and just came out of my the acquiring company. And he reached out to he listened to the podcast. He reached out to the host, who is a mutual friend, and asked for an intro. So we got together in this Starbucks in Santa Clara, and we're both trying to figure out what's next. And so I was also taking some time off to spend time with the family, and he was like, "Okay, I wanted to get to know some people in the valley, in the investors world, because he's been away for the past few years." So I connected him with some of the really good investors that I've either worked with or had great conversations with in the past 10 years. So at the same time, I mean, we just hit off really well that we became friends. We went on this trip to LA when Cybertruck just came out. We drove the Cybertruck. We shot some guns. We watched a boxing game together with a couple of other friends. It was just silly stuff. And then we just stayed friends. And then later on, I tried something new, and then that didn't work out. And he came to me and said, "Hey, when look, we're building something amazing at Genspark. Let's do this together." So I was like, okay. I mean, on the one hand, my wife scolded at me after I watched TV for a whole month at home. She's like, "Go do something! Like, don't stay at home." And then on the other hand, I mean, for me, one thing I've learned from my previous 10 years was that at the end of the day, uh, doing something, like, it doesn't matter what you do, doing it with the right people is like extremely important. And if you find the right people to work with, that's like the best thing that could happen ever. Like it's not just about the what. Yes, the why matters a lot, but also the who is, in my view, is just at that point. Like, yeah, I mean, I like my interactions with Eric. I talked to some of the other folks on the team, and clearly this is a team of ambition, competence, uh, great work ethic at the same time, humble, humility. Like, I mean, right, and also nice folks. So I'm like, this is my kind of people. So that was more of the case. So we talked, and I was like, okay, yeah, I just want to work with you. At a time when we're still trying to figure stuff out, it's not like the rocket ship today, but it's the who that
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
what is Genspark today then? Like for the people that are listening to really understand what you guys are building. What's Genspark?
so Genspark is a Palo Alto-based technology company. We build AI agents for the 1 billion plus global knowledge workers. What we mean by that is, think about it. In the past, we human beings are the production engines. Whenever it comes to building a financial model, writing an email, crafting a document, building a presentation, it's always like us working hands on, word by word, pixel by pixel. That has been the world, right? Now, with Genspark Super Agent, you don't do that anymore. You don't have to either learn through 20, 30, 40 tools, like from Microsoft suite to Google suite to Slack, Notion, Salesforce, you name it. You no longer have to do that. You just command your Genspark Super Agent and then say, hey, research Nvidia stock in the past 12 months. Give me projections for the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. In the best, worst, and most probable cases, give me a full financial model, discounted cash flow analysis. At the same time, build me a full investment memo in consideration for $10 million to purchase. At the same time, get me a 5-page slide deck in this format or in this template. Also, once you're done with that, give me a 1-minute video or 3-minute kind of podcast about this as kind of a verbal walkthrough or whatever. You can just ask Genspark Super Agent to do that and spin up like 5 or 10 agents at the same time, and then you go sip a cup of coffee, and then when you're back in 5 minutes, it's all done. Now, it's not necessarily perfect from the get-go, but it's 80, 90% there. So we human beings no longer have to spend 80% of our time on busy work, on the copy and pasting the same piece of information from an email to a meeting note to whatever. Rather, we can spend time on thinking, being creative, being strategic, and work like a boss. Essentially, our dream is for everybody to work like a Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan or like Jensen Huang at Nvidia. You don't see these folks typing hard trying to build a presentation, right? They just don't do that. They spend time on thinking, being strategic, being creative, dreaming the next 3 to 5 years. That's what we believe the right way to work, the right way to tap your human potential, right?
So
We want that for everybody.
I mean, this sounds really, really incredible, it's so wild to me that you guys went from 0 to 150 million in ARR like in 10 months. I mean, that's absolutely
155, yes.
that's like so wild. It's unbelievable. Now, walk us through what was that moment where this whole thing caught fire, because I'm sure that you guys were like tweaking things, and then all of a sudden you were like, this is insane. Like you just hit that nerve. What was that moment where you hit that nerve?
So it has been a process, to be honest. So we this is the second product we launched. So we launched Genspark Super Agent in April 2025. At the time, we basically thought, you know what, we believe with this wave of AI breakthroughs, not only you can get personalized information, customized information, you can actually get the real work done, through AI for you. So that was a hypothesis, and we built something for people who we intimately know, which is people like us, knowledge workers, and we didn't have any expectation, to be honest. We were just trying it out, and then within 45 days, we got to about 2 million users, and that was like, whoa, there was definitely something there. So we basically just kept on releasing new AI agents every week, every 2 weeks. And up until today, we have like near 30 agents doing different, optimized for different things for you. And you can build custom agent and whatnot. But it was a process. And then when we did that, and when we kind of learned that, hey, if your AI is giving you great output, great quality output, like a lot of people, we're, as human beings, we're smart. It's pretty easy for us to tell if I'm spending time burning tokens and teaching the AI, but couldn't get what I want, or one prompt and I get what I need, and then I can just run with it. Like we worked so hard to make sure our output quality is absolutely high grade, enterprise grade. So when we did that, it's like the growth was just, it's like wildfire. It continuously took. So I think within 6 months, no, 5 months, we broke $50 million ARR, and then 9 months, 100, and all the way, up until that moment, it was all word of mouth. It was just we released the new products on our X platform, on YouTube channels, but on LinkedIn, but that was it. And people were just telling each other, "Hey, this thing is really great. You can get what you need like right away." So after we broke $100 million ARR, we're like, okay, clearly, things were happening fast as well. It was a whirlwind, and that's when we like, okay, we now believe this is real. We're gonna put fuel on the fire. That's when we started testing a lot of SEO stuff, and then we decided, you know what, maybe we just get on this Super Bowl thing to buy Super Bowl. So yeah, and then all of a sudden, even before the Super Bowl commercial, by the end of January, we were at 155. We're like, this thing is really working. So yeah.
So give us an example of, let's say you're talking about these 30 agents that you have. Give us an example of probably one of the most popular agents that you're seeing right now being used, for example.
I have so many stories, Alejandro. So I mean, it's hard to tell like which one is the most popular, because typically what we see is the agents we released earlier, they have more usage because more people know about them. But then we kept releasing new things, and I'll just give you a few examples. Like, so one of the power users I've talked to, young man Matthew, based in Michigan, he built websites for local businesses on Shopify, or just direct websites for them. He charged them $6,000-7,000 a pop. And before, he would hire developers on Upwork or offshore. He would pay them $2,000-3,000, and it's weeks of coordination, a lot of overhead. Now he just commands Genspark AI developer, "Hey Genspark, here's my requirement. Here's the restaurant or the whatever business. Do research on it and then build me this website on Shopify, or just a direct website. This is the style I want." And then he still charges them $6,000-7,000, and it takes a couple of hours. He no longer has to pay out $2,000-3,000. He pockets all the margin, and yeah, it's like he can cater to 5 to 10x more clients at the same time. He's no more overhead, no more management, no more like coordination back and forth.
Wow.
So yeah, another gentleman, Scott, he's sixth generation Texan. He's based in Dallas. What he does is he is a consultant slash broker for local restaurants to secure bank loans. In the past, he would, so basically his business model is pretty simple. He would help the restaurants to secure $1 million-2 million for, I don't know, a patio project or something, and then they would pay him $20,000-40,000 as a fee. Right. So in the past, he would hire folks to count the foot traffic in the restaurant, and then he would do market research to put it together, and he would then hire a CPA firm analyst to put together a financial model, basically to tell the bank, "Hey, we're going to pay your money back timely and so on, reliably." And then he would build the presentation, and then he would walk into the bank together with his clients to secure the bank loan. Today, and that typically takes weeks, if not months, right? Back and forth. He would hire those people. Out of the $20,000-40,000 he would have to pay out probably $10,000 to these folks. Now he no longer has to do that at all anymore. Like he would just say, "Hey, Genspark, here's the restaurant. Do research. Here's the zip code. Do research on this market and give me the full market analysis." And then, "Hey, Genspark, build me the financial model. Here are the historical P&L and balance sheets and so on. Build me the financial model for this restaurant, for this bank loan." And then, "Hey, Genspark, build me a presentation." Right? He would still look through everything, polish up the work. He would still walk into the bank meeting together with his clients, secure them $1 million-2 million, still get paid for his fee. But instead of spending weeks, this is like days, and he gets to cater to 5x more clients at the same time, beating his competition left and right, because he can lower the fee a little bit for his clients, and he gets to work more, he earn more at the same time, a lot less management headache. It's just amazing, right?
Oh, that's
People make
beautiful.
money off this,
I
and
love it.
that in that case, he would use AI slides, AI sheets, AI docs, maybe even AI podcasts. So one of the household name consulting firm within a major office in Chicago. They would cater to manufacturing businesses with hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap. They would build software applications, solutions, complicated stuff for their dealerships and so on. But in the past, whenever they need to build a prototype, they would command their developer center in Europe and essentially going back and forth for months. And then I don't know, spend $250,000 on a prototype. And now, a handful of analysts and consultants sitting in their Chicago office, just putting it together in 2 3 days, and they would offer three prototypes to their clients to let them choose and charge them way less. Of course, still a good amount, but way less than before. And the clients were happy. They were happy. They were working a lot faster. It's not like weeks or months. It's like days. It's just the whole economy has changed. Not only the production part, but also the coordination part.
That's amazing. Now,
Yeah,
obviously, this crazy growth. I mean, you need to support this growth, and it's really spectacular to the at the rate and the speed at which you guys have been able to raise money. Walk us through that too, because obviously now this is not your first rodeo. I mean, you know what it takes, what it looks like, what to have, from investors that can really add value, not the tourist capital that is out there, because every investor says that they add value, and that's not really the case, right? We know that as founders. So walk us through how has been that journey too of being able to support the growth with the capital from the right people.
100%. So at the end of the day, when it comes to capital, I mean, we all probably know that it's although there's a lot of diligence work, but it's a trust based decision, right? So the seed round was raised by Eric, my co-founder, who built a company before this from zero to $5.5 billion, and he's built amazing trust and relationship with investors, for example, in Singapore, and that was where our seed round was from. And it was just hey, they know that, hey, Eric, you're gonna build this new thing. What you work on may change, but we trust you, right? You've shown. So it's that. The A round was led by Aponics Capital here in Silicon Valley, who was also one of the earliest investor in my last company. And yeah, I mean, it's all trust. And then our B round was backed by investors like Emergence Capital Partners, who put the first checks into generational companies like Salesforce, Box, Zoom, and so on. And they just uh, looked at us and they were like, "Wow, this is exactly how we look at the future of work. This is exactly how the world is going to move, based off our own." So we have that shared worldview. We have that shared kind of. In those situations, it's not about, there's no conviction needed. It's really people discovering each other, and then instantly that, hey, we're thinking about and looking at this exactly the same way, right? So it goes with some other investors of ours, like SBI from Japan, LG, Tech Ventures, and Aponis Capital, Sozo Ventures, and, Temasek Pavilion Capital. It's all underneath. It's all human trust based off shared values, shared worldview, the history of working together, and so on and so forth.
And
Right?
how much capital have you guys raised to date in total?
History today, we raised $460 million.
What does it mean value when it comes to receiving that from an investor as a founder?
You mean valuation of
No, no, no,
our company?
value. I mean,
Oh,
let's not talk about valuation. I mean, if you want to talk about valuation, that's fine too. But I don't know how sensitive you guys are about that. But when an investor says we add value, right? Because everyone says that. What is
yeah.
ultimately value received from an investor?
So I'll be just bluntly honest here. Okay. Number one value the investors add is obviously capital. So being able to support a round and really help the company to get well capitalized to the next stage of growth, that's the number one thing. And I mean, when it comes, for example, Emergence Capital Partners, they've done this for so many years, so many times, with so many successful companies, under their belt. So yeah, I mean, that speaks volume, right? So yeah, and once you see that, hey, here's the track record, here's how we kind of share the vision. It's a natural thing for people. It's like business partners getting together, right? You discover each other, and it's a natural thing for you to get together. That's kind of how we see it. We want people who share our worldview, who looks at the world and then have the same belief uh, in how the world is gonna move. Like for example, one thing we share is a lot of fear out there saying that, oh, AI is going to take away everybody's job. We don't look at the world that way at all. Neither do emergence capital partners, right? Like we look at the world in a way that, okay, clearly productivity for all human beings collectively is going to go up. Total production is going to go up. And this is going to be a major movement. And we wanted to play a role, play a rather important role in this movement to help as many as possible, knowledge workers to capitalize on this, to take advantage of the technology and become superhumans. That's how we look at the world. So that's how we got together, right? When it comes to LG and SBI, basically beyond capital, both of them have amazing, and so goes with Temasik's equivalent capital, right? We're very lucky that day one we're a global company. Our users are from all over the world. Our top five markets: U.S., France, Japan, Korea, and India. So LG clearly has amazing market pool, in South Korea, right? Like, and SBI, they're a major player in Japan, and we have so many users. We just did a launch event in Japan to officially, kind of announce our office in Tokyo and everything, and they helped us a lot on just understanding what is important, how to do things. They have a bank, so we set up a bank account with them. So that's like easy, right? So when your investors own banks, that's just great. Yeah, I mean, things like that. Or social ventures, they have a lot of amazing LPs in the corporate world. So we're like, oh, our volume is going up really quickly, and we need the customer support. And we don't know how to quickly hire local folks, and they were like, oh, don't worry, one of our LPs, actually three of our LPs are in that BPO world. Why don't we just make intro for you and then see who you like to work with the most? So we got intros to all three. We had amazing conversations with all of them. Eventually we partnered up with one of them, and now we're in actions, so they're already helping out. And at the same time they were like, oh, can we also explore the opportunity to purchase Genspark.ai, Genspark for business solution, the enterprise plan for our companies. The BPO folks, they were like, we're interested. I mean, this is like one intro kind of turned into at least two or three things that is going to be mutually beneficial for everybody in this. So that is the kind of investors that we have today, and we're very fortunate, obviously. But the kind of the reason we got into that is because in the very beginning, in those conversations, we discovered each other, that we share the same worldview, and naturally, the people who they raise money from likely would share the same worldview as them. It's the core values, and then naturally, we all wanted to figure out how to work with each other, and yeah, it's full circle. It's just amazing.
That's unbelievable. And obviously, I also saw that you guys very well passed the unicorn status in November. So in no time after, getting started with the company. So well done and congratulations to all the team. Now, you were talking about vision earlier, and I wanna dive deep into that real quick. And let me ask you this: you go to sleep tonight and you wake up in a world where the vision of Genspark is fully realized. What does that world look like?
Oh my God, that's such an amazing question, Alejandro. So, perfect world scenario. We wanted to see a world where, because JetSpark autopiloted, all your busy work, every and each human being is able to just, forget about all the copy and pasting of the information, but really, focus on what can be done, what can be possible, and just use that, creative and strategic juice of your brain. Then we see a world where everybody's role gets, expanded a lot more. What I'm gonna be capable of doing, or anyone like is going to be capable of doing today is going to be 10x, 100x. And because of that, and then the amount of communication or coordination we have to do is short circuited. It's just a lot simpler, a lot faster, a lot easier. Instead of majority of us still trying to work on things that are just to produce more to support our day-to-day lives, all of that part of the work gets to a certain extent just done without us even thinking about it, and all of us will be many of us will be will be able to work on much bigger, much significant stuff. I see a world we do universe exploration, like whatever Elon Musk is talking about there. He is clearly on the frontier of doing a lot of the moon, the Mars, the outside of the solar system. But my view is this, and I think our collective kind of view is, if all human beings, if or us collectively, no longer have to worry about the day to day, no longer have to worry about produce enough for us to just survive, to the extent that we have so much abundance, so much so that everybody is really taken care of from a living a life perspective. Then we go above and beyond to get onto bigger things. We explore the universe. We try to figure out how the world actually works. And the technology advancement, the science advancement is really going to be on boosters. That's kind of what I mean. This is like, you asked me what I would in
And
my dream.
I mean, after listening to you, I'm ready to run through a wall of bricks. My God, that's beautiful, so profound.
Yes, truly. I mean, we are all, from a biological standpoint, we all have this supercomputer in our brain, right? Like, it costs so much, so little energy, but it could do so much. And
Oh yeah.
we probably only tapped, I don't know, 1%, 5% of its potential. Like, why can't we do more? Why can't we accomplish more? Why can't we go on bigger and more amazing stuff? Well, big part of the reason is we're tied to the you know day to day, like small tasks. We have to do that to survive as human beings, as humanity. But if we could get freed out of that, because that is taken care of, well, I mean, our nature is to absolutely to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to go beyond the solar systems. 100%. Who wouldn't want to be a Elon Musk? I mean, let me ask you that.
Everybody,
Right?
every founder.
Yeah. Having that option versus not is like, yeah, I mean, but collectively, I see this potential opportunity. If we could do what we're trying to do here, to free everybody out of the mundane, day to day work, then yeah, I believe all of us have that potential to be, just pushing the frontier for humanity.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Now, when we're talking about this future, but I want to talk about the past. But I want to do so with a lens of reflection. So let's say I put you into a time machine and I
Hmm.
bring you back to that moment where you were coming out of MIT and you were about to go into this journey of bumping your head all over the place, wearing a helmet like you were talking before. And let's say you're able to stop that younger self, that younger Wen that is coming out of MIT, thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, and you're able to give that younger Wen one piece of advice before launching a business. What would that be and why, given what you know now?
Uh, so many things I would tell that one, but the biggest thing would probably be that, trained as a engineer, it's great that uh, the younger when your strength is problem solving and you would solve any problem in front of you, you would run through walls to make things happen. But at the same time, it's extremely important to pay attention and be aware of the actual human beings. Like the center of the world is always human beings. It's not just the problems. So what I mean by that is, when it comes to solving problems, not only it is important to understand the what, but also you got to understand the why, and why this problem exists. And when you solve it, what may be the best path to solve it? Is it just bluntly to solve it right in front of you? Or there are other things, related to this that cause this problem that, mostly, related to, how human beings work, how human beings think and feel, how what are the things that human beings care about. And when it comes to different stakeholders, different parties of a problem, maybe, just maybe, there are highly efficient, highly effective highly leveraged solutions than a pure blonde kind of engineering solution right in front of you. That is what I would say to my younger version. To put it, plainly, like for my last company, I think still the problem is absolutely worthy of solving, but the path we picked was a rather hard path. It was good that we accomplished certain things, but I would say the same amount of time, same amount of energy spent on it, there could be even bigger results out of it. Not just from a financial standpoint, but really also from an impact and how quickly can we enable technologies to get adopted and then make the world a better place. There are better pathways, and just gotta be open to it. Gotta be mindful of it. Gotta be aware that hey, the human factors is always the most important, and pay attention to what people want, not just what you want. Is kind of yeah.
I love that. So, when for the people that are listening, that would love to get in touch, say hi, learn more about Gen Sparks, what would you tell them?
Uh, First, please try Genspark.ai, and if you don't get value within 10 minutes, send Alejandro a message.
You're gonna get me in trouble here. Come on.
We'll talk. But yeah, we're absolutely always open to honest product feedback. We'd love to learn from you. I believe we all share the same vision for our communities, that we all deserve more freedom. We all deserve more time for more meaningful things instead of getting tied to the mundane work day to day. So if you are thinking about that as well, yeah, on the one hand we wanted you to try our product. On the other hand, we're hiring around the globe, and if you want to join our mission, we would love to have you. I mean, please reach out. Yeah.
Amazing, Wen. Well, thank you so much for being on the Deal Maker Show today, Wen. I really enjoyed the discussion, and it has been a truly a big honor to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, for the amazing opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully we could do it again more when we make more progress.